What I'm about to read to you is the full text of the letter that Donald Trump sent to Mitch McConnell. Now, again, I am not defending Mitch McConnell. As far as I'm concerned, the man's a scumbag. He deserves everything that's coming to him. But I need to read this because it shows how incredibly egotistical Donald Trump really is, and why we cannot have him as president of the United States again, ever again. Here's what he says. Statement by Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States of America. Quoting, "The Republican Party can never again be respected or strong with political leaders." He puts the quotations marks on the words leaders, I'm guessing because he doesn't consider him a real leader, like Senator Mitch McConnell at its helm. McConnell's dedication to business as usual status quo politics, together with his lack of political insight, wisdom, and skill and personality, have rapidly driven him from the majority leader in the Senate to the minority leader, and will only get worse. The Democrats and Chuck Schumer play McConnell like a fiddle. They've never had so good, and they want to keep it that way. And we know that our America First agenda is a winner, not McConnell's buttway first agenda or Biden's America Last. I feel like I'm reading a baby's. I should be talking in baby talk when I read this, because that's all it is. And at the onset, I should remind everyone, McConnell was one of the biggest supporters of Donald Trump. And McConnell and Trump has always kissed the ass of Senator McConnell. Every single rally the two of them been together. McConnell, I think McConnell's going to do some good things here. I think McConnell, in about 4 or 5 years, is going to do some great things. That's how he did. And now you're turning your back on him because why are you doing this? More on that later while we continue to read this. In 2020, I received the most votes of any sitting president in history, almost 75 million. Every incumbent House Republican won for the first time in decades, and we flipped 15 seats, almost costing Nancy Pelosi her job. Republican won majorities in at least 59 of the 98 partisan legislative chambers, and the Democrats failed to flip a single legislative chamber from red to blue. And Mitch's Senate, over the last 2 election cycles, I single-handedly saved at least 12 Senate seats, more than 8 in the 2020 cycle alone. And then, pause on that real quick. Wow, you did all that, Trump? Wow. I mean, wow. You did all this, Trump? So why are you not president here now? Why did the Republicans lose the Senate and the House? Maybe it's about time for you to start taking that oh so important word that your daddy didn't teach you, responsibility. But let's go through this here. And then he goes on and says, and then came the Georgia disaster, where we should have won both U.S. Senate seats. But McConnell matched the Democratic offer of $2,000 stimulus checks with $600. How does that work? It became the Democrats' principal advertisement, and a big win for them it was. McConnell then put himself, one of the most unpopular politicians in the United States, into the advertisements. Weren't you the guy who kept saying, Mitch McConnell, I like Mitch McConnell. He's going to be a good guy. He's going to be a good man. I believe in this guy. I love him. I love this guy. Give it 4 years. He's going to be something great. Really? Is that where you're going with this? But then he says, many Republicans in Georgia voted Democratic or didn't or just didn't vote because they're anguished at their inept governor, Brian Kemp, the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, and the Republican Party for not doing its job on the election integrity during the 2020 presidential race. So you're going to blame the two people who did do their jobs and make sure that the election was safe. And as for Brian Kemp and Brad Raffensperger, Trump, you're under criminal investigation right now for the phone call you made to the Secretary of State. Yeah, you seriously thinking that we're going to take this seriously? Oh God! Oh man, this is just. Oh, let's move on. It was a complete election disaster in Georgia and certain other swing states. McConnell did nothing and will never do what needs to be done in order to secure a fair and just electoral system in the future. He doesn't have what it takes. He never did and never will. You mean because he didn't flip the election results to you? He didn't try to overturn the election results, stealing them from Joe Biden to you. You call him all this? What a freaking egotistical man you are. What a child you are. That's where you're going off about this? Because he didn't help you steal an election? Or is it for the fact that he made that statement after he voted to acquit you this past Saturday? What is with you, Trump? Are you really that much of a child that you can't take the responsibility that comes with everything that's happened? And it gets worse. My only regret is that McConnell begged for my support and endorsement before the great people of Kentucky in the 2020 election. And I gave it to him. He went from 1 point down, 20 points up, and he won. How quickly he forgets. Without my endorsement, Mitch McConnell would have lost badly. Now his numbers are lower before, and he's destroying the Republican side of the Senate, and doing so, seriously hurting our country. Again, I'm not defending Mitch McConnell. As I said before, the man's a scumbag. We know this because he's done nothing in the Senate. But maybe it's time for you to stop this pity party of yours and take responsibility for yourself. And I almost forgot to mention this earlier when you talked about how the Georgia runoff, how it was a disaster. It was a disaster because on the Republican side, you had David Perdue, a know-nothing idiot that didn't even show up to his own debate, and Kelly Loeffler, whose the whole debate was radical liberal Raphael Warnock. Maybe it's about time you Republicans look at yourselves and see that the responsibility lies within you, not the Democrats, not crap, I forgot his name already. He's the President of the United States, and I already his name. Not Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or any of the Democrats. The responsibility lies in you. And as for destroying the Republican side of the Senate and doing so seriously hurting our country, you were the President of the United States for 4 years. You are the one who hurt our country in the worst possible ways. 2020 is just the biggest example of that. You are the one who hurt this country. The Republican Party as well. But you were the commander-in-chief of this country. And by all means and by all accountability, you're the head of the Republican Party. So they're taking their cues from you. You just don't want to take responsibility, do you? Anyway. Likewise, McConnell has no credibility on China because of his family's substantial business holdings. He's done nothing on this tremendous economic and military threat. Obviously, he's talking about his wife, the former Secretary of Transportation. So this is where you are, Trump. A grown man acting like a 5-year-old. But him, but look at him. I know I'm a bastard, but look at him. Really? That's the legacy you want to stay on? Being a child? Rather than the man who actually led this country? And then it gets even worse with the name calling. There's the third grade name calling he's known for. Mitch is a dull, sullen, unsmiling political hack. And if Republican senators are going to stay with him, they will not win again. He will never do what needs to be done or what is right for our country. Where necessary and appropriate, I will back primary rivals who espouse Make America Great Again with a policy of America First. We want brilliant, strong, thoughtful, compassionate leadership. You dumb idiot! You have never shown, not one of you, in fact, has shown any of the things you just said here. Bright, brilliant, thoughtful, and compassionate leadership. America first. America first. Well, guess what, Trump? You accomplished that. America is first when it comes to the deaths of the coronavirus pandemic. Congratulations, America first. Really? Really? And it just keeps getting worse. It just keeps getting worse. And he tries to rewrite history about his failure in 2020. And, well, actually, I should say his failure in the entire in his entire administration. Prior to the pandemic, we produced the greatest economy and job numbers in the history of our country. And likewise, our economic relief after COVID was the best in the world. After COVID? After COVID. After COVID. After COVID? Trump, we're still in the middle of this pandemic. Yes, we have a couple of vaccines out there. Congratulations, we got vaccines out there. But you left the White House during this pandemic. You left the White House during the pandemic. And at the time you left the White House on January 20th, that morning you were trying to escape before Joe Biden was inaugurated. There were over 400,000 Americans dead from this, and the number was still counted as Joe Biden gave the speech. After COVID. Oh my God. Let's continue. We cut taxes and regulations. Yeah, for the super rich in this country, not for the American citizen. We rebuilt our military. Really? How'd you do that? We took care of our vets. Really? Now, I know a few personal friends who have family members who are veterans, and that's not true at all, Trump. We became energy independent. Oh, how's that working for Texas right now? I'm not making fun of anyone in Texas who's suffering the cold, but how's that working out for them right now? We built the wall and stopped the massive flow of illegals into our country. How'd you stop them, Trump? Oh, that's right. I forgot. You snatched kids away from their parents who crossed the border and locked up kids in cages. Congratulations, Trump. And so much more, whatever. And now, illegals are pouring in. Pipelines are being stopped, taxes will be going up, and we will no longer be energy independent. Really? Illegals are pouring in? I don't see them. Pipelines are being stopped because they're leaking. Because there are safety issues, Trump. Taxes will be going up? Yeah, for the people who are making more money than the normal working class American. Yes, taxes are going up for the super rich. And we will no longer be energy independent. Actually, we are trying to be energy independent. You, on the other hand, are trying to undercut the Green Deal that could have saved Texas. This is a big moment for our country, and we cannot let it pass by using third-rate leaders to dictate our future. That's the end of the letter, by the way. Oh my God. Oh. Now again, I am not supporting Mitch McConnell. He's a scumbag, and he's proven that in the years he's been in the Senate, and especially in representing Kentucky. But this, oh my God. Any sane person, or a person who claims to be sane, that still supports Donald Trump at this point is ever one of four things: a criminal, a racist, a drug addict, or a drunk. The Republican Party is dying. And as much as I hate to say it, I think it deserves to die. Now, political parties in this country have never been destroyed by their enemies. So you can't blame the Democratic Party or the Green Party or the Libertarians or the Greenists or whatever other party there is in this country. You can't blame anyone else. This was a self-inflicted wound by the Republican Party. But guess who gave them the gun? Donald Trump. Now, as for Mitch McConnell, I wish I could say I feel sorry for you. I don't. You tried to play both sides against the middle this Saturday by saying that Trump should be held morally responsible. The man is responsible for what happened on January 6th. And you Republicans didn't convict him because you think he's going to help you sometime down the line. You're wrong. Everything in this letter, maybe a few pieces of it are fabrication, especially when he names off his accomplishments. But everything about you, McConnell, is partially the truth. And more to the point, is partially true, is 100% true about the Republican Party. The Republican Party is dead. It's time for us to bury it. And I'd like to thank Donald Trump for this, for giving us the shovel to bury it with. God. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice for the right.